Here's the SPY daily. Let's go to a 5-minute SPY. I could do 15-minute, but I think the 5 might be a good way to look at it. So the SPY gapped up this morning. If you put it on regular session, you can see the gaps easier. All right, so the narrative out there is that oil is coming down. Bitcoin looks like it's being bought. The markets had a nice little algo pop that immediately filled the gap. Quick sell-off here. But then it came back. Okay, now what? Well, it seems to be making higher highs and higher lows, finding some resistance at about 685, 686. Have to look at the options chain and see what's up there. But the doomsday outlook would be, if we take out this level here, which is pretty much in line with this, that's 679. So look for in the afternoon, potentially a sell-off to here, or does it hold? So the question is, what are international investors doing? What are the overseas investors doing? Are they buying our dips and then we sell it? Or are we buying the dips and then they're selling it? Are they dumping the dollar and then buying the dollar? Are they dumping the dollar and then going into gold? Like, what the hell is everybody doing? And it's hard to tell. So when it's hard to tell, we just have to look at all of the charts and read them and weep, right? So let's go to them and see what they are all telling us as a group or as a basket of deplorables. Changes to a 15-minute. Nah, I don't want to do 15-minute. Let's do the 195. That way I can get a few days. Yeah, that's much better, right? 195 I think is a lot better to look at. $195's half a day chart, so it's a lot easier to see. All right, let's look at Nvidia. Still trading below its daily 50. So that's the first thing that you want to notice. You can always look at these candles and go, oh, it's coming up off the bottom. Yeah, it is. Well, but it traded down to its daily 200. That is the death zone. This is the death zone for Nvidia. If it crosses the death zone, that means it's going to trigger a huge sell-off. Same concept here on Qs. Same concept on SPY. Same concept on Bitcoin. If you break the lows, it triggers a sell-off. Why? Because if you were a trader, an investor, and if you look at sort of the zones here, there's a bunch of them. I guess it's better to look at this on a weekly chart, maybe. Yeah, that's good. I guess I don't have to go back too far. But as an example, if you buy stock, if you buy Nvidia, if you bought here during this consolidation phase here, this was the end of 2023. It had the real surge began kind of in March, whatever. If you bought here and then got all of that move, you probably took some profits over the next few weeks if the investors did. But then it got bought up again. And then there were a lot of investors that decided, okay, I'm going to buy some more. So on the dips that followed, you got a lot of people buying in here in that zone. It did this. You got a few people that left, but more buy the dippers that bought it up here. Bought it on the dip, buying the dips. Maybe they sold it here. You still have people that bought it here. Okay, everybody see that? Nvidia climbed, and then the retail investor were like, well, damn, I want to get some of this shit. So they bought some of it here too. So it's been choppy, and there's been some buying and selling. But if you look at these squares, rectangles, these were buy zones where price consolidated for a few weeks, but it stayed buoyant, and you can see like the bounces up off of those levels. See the bounce up? See the bounce up? That means buyers came in, and that's why I put a rectangle around. Does everybody understand? Yeah, well, there's solid resistance now. There is now. But here's something that totally takes your argument, C-Man, and blows it out of the water. Does that look like resistance to you? Look at the long haul. Okay, this is a stock you want to be in. At least that's the way it looks. Yes, there is a good amount of resistance lately, right? We're trading now where we were trading all the way back, almost a year ago. It's gone nowhere. So in that case, you're correct. But the buyers that have been buying it on these pullback zones, see, when it comes down here and it goes back up, this go back up, 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 up, and then up. All these lines represent going back up. Those are buying. That's investor buying, right? So I draw blocks around them to share with you that these are blocks of investors over the months and months and months and months that are holding Nvidia. So if Nvidia breaks this level, many of them from here will decide to cash out. Do you understand? If you bought Nvidia in here, you're not going to want to see it crash through where you bought it. So these investors will dump if they see this get breached, which is going to cause a massive sell-off here. But then if that happens, what do these investors do as they see price approaching this level? Then these start to sell because they don't want to be neg. So they take profits. Selling begets more selling. Then you got these. Then you got these. You see it? It's like a domino effect. If you are an investor that bought Nvidia at $100, remember when it split and did all that nonsense? If you bought it at $100, let's just say on this move higher, right here, and you're profitable, right? Because now it's at 180. It was as high as this. You don't want to see price get below, 120. At what point are you going to get out? If you bought at 100, when are you getting out? It's hard to tell, right? So I'm just pointing out to you, and this goes for every stock, almost every stock. When you can look at consolidation zones and then the buying that takes place after, look at this. Weekly compression, weekly compression, weekly compression or consolidation, and weekly compression, consolidation. After each of these consolidation periods, you see what? You guys catching this? Buying. After each consolidation period for weeks and weeks and weeks, what follows that? More buying. After each consolidation zone, got a little bit of a dip here. Boop. What happens after that? Right? Buying. Right? And now look where we are. There hasn't been a lot of buying of Nvidia. There's been a lot of shenanigans. There's been the market maker and having to deal with call and put buyers, boom, 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 like this. It's gone nowhere fast. So the question is, what happens to Nvidia? Well, we all know that the bloom is off the rose with Nvidia, but it hasn't cracked yet. So if this cracks, and instead of getting the bounce like it always has, if you crack that level and get a close below 170 or wherever the number is, right? And it starts to sell off, anybody who's holding positions that bought Nvidia, certainly if they're holding here, you're dumping. And that's what causes that breach. But this breach will take out all these investors that don't want to lose money. They sell, then they sell. right? And you get this cascading, like, holy cow. Now, will Nvidia go down to $40? I don't know. But where it could come down to is its 200 period moving average. That is the dead zone target for stocks that are trading above their 50s and are in trouble. The breach of the 50, after a breach of this level, the next level is the 200. Might not happen all at once, but that's the fear. Okay? So if you understand what I just went through here, then it'll make a lot of sense as we look at other charts, like the SPY. Algos won't be able to save the SPY if it breaches certain levels where investors are going to panic and sell.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comments section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.